Hey, Halloween's behind the corner, so I will show you how to turn this into this. So let's hit it. Hey, my name is Antti and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm planning to do a lot of tutorials and all kind of stuff in this channel, but as my first tutorial I will show you how to turn your kind of a normal picture into this, something a bit more different. So the further ado, I think we should go to Lightroom and Photoshop and I will show you how it was done. Come on, let's go. All right, let's dive in. So here's Laura, my good friend, stylist, makeup artist, a model. She can do everything. So we have done a lot of projects together, and here's just one of our projects that we did together. It's about Handmaid's Tale, and I think this shot is perfect for my kind of a retouching to do this Halloween theme. So let's get this open up in Photoshop, so we'll start retouching. So I basically always start from Lightroom, open the files from Lightroom to Photoshop, and then come back to the Lightroom after I've saved, and then do small changes again in Lightroom. So let's open up this in Photoshop, Command E. And I will open up a copy with Lightroom adjustments, so I will get a separate file, so I won't mess up my original with this Halloween stuff edit. So here we have the file open up in Photoshop. So first we will start doing the eyes. So I want to paint these both eyes black first. So I'll do a new blank layer. B for brush tool, and I'm just going to paint black into them like a feathered soft edge brush. So I'm going to just overpaint these eyes black, and as I do the painting you will see how the life is getting sucked out of her like that. Always see how important the eyes are in the pictures. So when you paint them black, it almost feels that they are like the soul disappears from the images. I think I actually made a blog about this. I think it was the robot geisha thing where I kind of explained how important the eyes are. I'll post a link also to the video. Alrighty. So now you can see the life has been sucked out of her eyes. Beep boop, beep boop. So we could kind of try to do these eyes more interesting, to have some of these in a way the reflections in the pictures. So let's do that. I will select a lasso tool. I'm going to select these highlight. Actually, I'm going to also select the iris here. I'm going to select a few of these highlighted parts. This highlight here and the whole eye maybe. And now I'm going to make a Command J, a separate layer out of that, and I'm going to push that on top of my black eyes. So what I'm going to do with these, actually I'm going to make a group. Select Shift click both of these layers, and Command G makes a group out of those. So I can kind of toggle on and off the whole stuff. So what I want to do now, So now what I want to do with this layer, I'm gonna put that into blending mode, let's say lighten. And then I'm going to apply adjustment layer levels to that. And what I want to do with this, I'm gonna snap it with the clipping mask only to affect that layer. And I'm going to pull these darker areas down in my image. So I'll be basically left out only with the reflections. And maybe I'll put the highlights highly like that. And I don't mind seeing through some of these things. So I could actually mask out now this layer just to get rid of, because I don't need those. I can have some of these shining things and just kind of fade that to look more like the other eye too. So now you can see that with these real reflections, the eye has in a way a bit of a more shape, how it concaves, what kind of a shape it is. And I've had a bit more of that life back into my image. So next up, let's start doing the bloody drips coming from eyes. So Adobe Stock is integrated in Photoshop, so I can, if I want to search for example scars or whatever, I can just go, or skulls or whatever, I can go here and write skull, and I will get all kind of images of skulls that I can kind of drag into the image, for example that. And of course it has the logo, but I can do all kind of stuff. I can test out how it look in this image, whatever I want, and then when I'm done basically doing all the retouching, I can kind of just go here and license the image, the logo disappears, and I will get the full resolution image from that. I'm going to get rid of that and these for now. So I've already selected a few images that I'm going to use in this tutorial. So it's called Black Cry. So I'm gonna drag these into my image here. And let's put that into blending mode. I'm gonna drop the opacity slightly down so I can see better and put that blending mode into, let's put it in overlay. Alrighty. So now I can kind of start tweaking the eyes to match the image like that. Drippings comes to like just scaling so these will match. And I can also, you know, use these to line up, kind of a warp tool to match up those dripping parts to my picture like that. So now I have these, they look pretty much in the right place. So I can make a black mask for that layer, alt click and mask, and then I'm gonna paint white to basically reveal back what I want from these. So I definitely want these drips. I don't need the other stuff, I just need these parts. So painting white to reveal on this layer. So I'm just going to paint these parts in. Okay, so you'll see now what's the problem with these images. I will have this white halo here, so I need to get rid of that. So I can do it. There's of course many ways. I can mask these carefully, but let's do it another way around. I will put levels, clipping mask. You can get a clipping mask by alt clicking between these layers. So now these levels is affecting only this layer here. So now I can just kind of from the other way around, I can squeeze down the whites over here. So I'm left out basically now only. So we eliminated the white bleeding. So just using the levels. So that's about it. What else? What else? So here's now the bleeding eyes. I could do next maybe the scar. So I have already selected the scar that I'm going to use. I'm going to drag that into the picture over there. Let's put that also in overlay. So let's kind of tweak that. first warp, so I could make it go past, for example, the eyebrow, and then to the other side like that. Let's move it here. So that's a good kind of a shape. But of course, now you can see there's a problem. It doesn't look anything real because it's a totally different color. The contrast is totally different. Saturation is different. So we could actually do a couple of things to match these out. So to first match the contrast, I will put a black and white kind of a adjustment layer to see better. I'm not going to use the black and white anyways, just to see the difference better. So now I'm going to do levels on my scar layer, clipping mask only to affect that, and then I'm going to come here just to squeeze, 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 squeeze. As you can see now, it starts to disappear. I'm looking at the edges up here. I can put more contrast actually to it, so I'll get more cooler like that. So now I basically, if I uncheck now the black and white layer, I'm kind of matched the contrast. So from here to here. So I'm in a, this is an overlay, so if you have any other blending mode, of course you have to match for that. So the next step is to kind of try to match the tones. As you can see, it's more yellow, and actually we can do a bit of masking for my image before, so we don't need those, just getting the sharp lines away from my picture, so it's easier to blend these together. And we still have the problem that it's a different color. So what we can do now is to use, for example, I mean, you can color grade these in any ways, but I usually use selective color. And I have a technique also where when I'm doing composite images to see better, but I'm coming back for those things later on in my upcoming videos. So basically a lot of information are in neutrals. So definitely too much yellow, so I'm taking yellow off from this image, maybe around there, looks better, and definitely more cyan to the image. So here you can see I'm getting pretty nice blend. Kind of starts to look like it belongs actually there. So we came from that to here, just balancing out first the contrast basically, and then the colors. It's easier to kind of mash things together from here. Alrighty, then we're getting the skull in the pictures. We don't need the black and white layer. You can just delete that if you don't want that to be there. So let's bring on the skull over here. I'm gonna drop the opacity slightly down so I can see it better. Maybe overlay. Yeah, I think that looks cool. And then Command T to transform. I'm gonna scale the skull to fit her face. And what I can do also is to use warp, so I can align all these edges too. And as I said, you can do all this before you even license the stock image to kind of see if it fits or not. So that's a cool thing to do a previews. If you're doing a client work or whatever, you don't have to license these stock images yet until you get a basically, for example, approval that it's okay. So you can do the composites without the or with the logos. So okay, I think I need to do a bit of level adjustment to get more of the black white. I can mask it out, but I can use also levels. Alt click between to affect only this, and I'm going to squeeze the black out of here. and maybe a bit more contrast to the, like that. That looks good, and then we can mask out the rest B and painting black into that. So I'm getting rid of the sharp edges. So if you mask out the other elements, be sure that you will eliminate the things that shows that it's a different frame. Alrighty, so we're getting pretty close. Maybe slightly opacity a bit down, so I don't want to have it that visible. Just kind of a hint that it's in a way a shape of a skull. Here, I think the forehead looks cool with those staple marks. Alrighty, so we have come from this image now to here. So I'll get rid of that. So what we can do now also is to have a bit more color grading to this image. So usually I color grade with selective color. Start with blacks. Let's add more blue to the shadows. Maybe a bit more cyan to the shadows too. Let's go to mid-tones. Bit more warmth to the mid-tones maybe. Bit more cyan, that looks good. So I do my last tweaking in Photoshop, so when I'm in a way happy with the basics, I'm saving and coming back to Lightroom to the rest of stuff. But I can kind of show you one cool thing also, to color grade. You will get totally interesting colors and palettes. So I will make a stamp visible, Shift Command Alt E, so makes a stamp of whatever it's visible. I will inverse that. Looks definitely not cool. I'll put that in difference, even weirder, and then I drop the opacity down, and you can see how randomly cool colors I will get, and it almost like washes the blacks out, adding different tones in different parts of the image. This is something you can try. I mean, it just might work or might not work, and even different kind of a blending modes, exclusion or subtract, gives totally different things to the image. So that just maybe adds something haunting into the image. And now I will save this and return back to Lightroom to do the small changes to my image. So it's a 16-bit image, takes a bit of time. Alrighty, and then we switch back to Lightroom, where you see both the original file here, and we have done this. And so in Lightroom, what I usually do is I'll try to define what is the final product, final colors and stuff like that. So definitely it will need a bit more clarity. It depends on the picture how much you want for the clarity, but I can push clarity to this image. Definitely I will lower the saturation. I like the saturated image, but at the same time I will push up the vibrance slightly so that this will add a bit more color to the areas that was already saturated. So it's just kind of a balancing out thing. Maybe a bit more contrast. Push the highlights slightly down. Looks scary enough. Maybe do a bit of vignette, concentrate on more in the middle. Definitely a bit more, it needs grain. These kind of pictures doesn't need to be perfect. We can add some rough grain, even size can be bigger like that. It's not that bad. And I have a lot of presets that I can test out. Some of these might look even better. Let's say that. And then I'm gonna add a bit more blue to the image, more dropping saturation. So I think I'm done with my image. So you can test out, but from here to here, cool Hollywood, not Hollywood, what I'm saying, Halloween type image of your portraits. So you can choose to use your own pictures, choose to use stock images. I'm using Adobe Stock because I can kind of research them inside of the software, and some from here to here. So there you have it, turning your normal pictures to something else. I hope you liked it, and if you liked, put a thumbs up. If you even go further, subscribe to my channel, write a comment, anything goes. Let's do this interactive so I will know what you want from me. Check my webpage, what I'm able to do, and I hope I will see you next week when I get something more videos done to this channel. So see you later, guys.